counter direct mail, proclaiming us sweepstakes winners or wanting our business. Will there ever be an end to this invasion of our privacy? Today, I would like to look at the problem of information about our private lives being sold. To accomplish this, I will first tell you about the easy accessibility of information about our lives. Next, I will talk about the profits and dangers of list selling. And finally, I will examine the steps we need to take to put an end to this invasion of our privacy. To fully understand the severity of this invasion of our lives, we must first be aware of exactly how our names do get on these mailing lists. In most cases, we put ourselves on mailing lists by innocent acts. If your mother registers you for free baby care products at the hospital when you're born, or if you have a listed telephone number, then count yourself included. If you own a car, most states except Pennsylvania and New Jersey will sell your name. If you own a home, if your name appears in any legal notices in your local newspaper, or if you are registered to vote, then your name, address, and political persuasion are open to direct marketers. If you subscribe to any magazine, most of them, with the exception of Reader's Digest and National Geographic, will offer your name to other advertisers. If you buy anything through the mail, the seller will offer your name to other businesses. If you move and file a change of address form with the post office, if you give money to any charity, or if you're a member of a record or book club, then your name and address are more than likely being sold, unless you specifically ask for them not to be. This is only a partial listing of the ways in which direct mailers obtain our names. As you can see, it'd be almost impossible to avoid being found. There are at least 10,000 lists of names, addresses, and other information which are sold every day. These lists are bought and sold either directly or through third parties called list brokers. Obtaining a list is simple. To prove just how easy it is, a reporter from the U.S. News and World Report with a phone call and a check for $450 received from TRW Incorporated, the nation's largest credit reporting company in the world, a list of 5,000 credit card holders said to have credit lines of $3,000 or more and annual incomes between $100,000 and $125,000. The only question asked the reporter was the purpose of this list. The reporter lied and said it was for a sort of survey, and that was it. The list of names, addresses, home phone numbers, and credit information was hers, to do with as she pleased. The selling of privacy in this manner has become big business. The private information about us is making several companies and businesses more efficient and richer. Businesses are able to obtain mailing lists from direct marketers for a certain price. Then, they in turn can use this information to get into our lives and make a profit of our own. The businesses using these lists make a profit, but just listen to the profit made by these people selling these lists. The subscriber list to the Smithsonian Magazine is valued because its readers average a net worth of $331,000 and have a long record of buying by mail. A one-time use of this list cost only $85 per 1,000 names. The World Data Marketing Information Incorporated offers for $45 a list of donors to disabled American veterans for $45. They also offer a list for $125 of subscribers to the Institutional Investor magazine. There is a list of sell for wig wearers, short men, and orders of weight loss products for only $60 per 1,000 names. This may all seem very harmless, but it is not. This is a serious problem. The list brokers have gone so far as to sell lists of active donors to the Nicaragua Contras for a rent price of only $125 per 1,000 names. The Standard Data Service Incorporated offers for $40 per 1,000 the list of 26,747 police chiefs, state troopers, and FBI and social service agents. There is even a list for sale of homosexuals. The availability of these lists has created great danger for the people on them. Why? Because there are no set regulations on who obtains these lists and how they use them. The man accused of murdering television actress Rebecca Schaefer outside of her apartment in July of 1989 received her home address by checking her vehicle registration in the California Department of Motor Vehicles. Politicians have discovered the direct marketing lists and are using them to their advantage. In the 1989 Republican mayoral primary election in New York, candidate Randolph W. Gillian used a list to appeal to the Liberal Party and Republicans. He sent letters to each party that said what they wanted to hear. Imagine what the wrong person could do with a list of CIA agents or homosexuals. The direct marketers have truly gone too far. They have reached the limit. The question is, what can we do to put a necessary end to this invasion and profit-making of our lives? To start off, the list brokers need to tighten their guidelines for selling these lists. If this were done, there would be a dramatic decrease in the number of lists bought and sold. Steps are being taken in this direction by the DMA. They have appointed a privacy task force to study and make recommendations on tightening the existing guidelines. Next, we can take steps to see to it that at least our names are removed by writing to the Mail Preference Service in New York and asking to have our names removed. A final alternative is to push for new privacy laws restricting the release of personal information in legislature. Dozens of bills have been introduced to state legislature, but no major bill has yet been enacted. We need to let our legislature know how we feel about this matter. Unless something is done to control or stop this madness, our lives will continue to be invaded and open for all to probe into. Where do you draw the line between public and private information? It is truly ridiculous and sad that anyone who wants to can learn everything from our age to the religious background of our lives. How far must it go? How many lives must be harmed before we realize that this isn't right, that they've gone too far? You are a winner. Yeah, right. Probably $2. Official? Bet they want my money. Order now? Well, sure, if you like lime green. Valuable coupon inside. For what, a 1989 calendar? Don't you just love junk mail? We should. We're being buried in it. Last year alone, almost 64 billion pieces of third-class mail made into mailboxes across the country. But what is this third-class mail? For the U.S. Postal Service, it's bulk business mail. And to the senders of it, it's direct mail or mail order. And to most Americans, it's simply junk mail. But whatever its name, junk mail may come in forms of catalogs, political flyers, environmental entreaties, charitable solicitations, coupons, freebie newspapers, anything of the month promos, magazine subscription offers, and sweepstakes packets. But before we're completely buried in it, perhaps we should try to understand junk mail a little better. Why do advertisers and organizations find junk mail so efficient? What are the benefits of junk mail? And how do advertisers and organizations get our names? With so much junk mail being circulated, it's hard to believe that advertisers and organizations will use it as its major source of communication with the American public. The direct-to-mailers, however, feel it's the most efficient way to reach out to their customers. How else can you communicate with the people? Ask Peter Behoot, Executive Director of Greenpeace USA. An environmental watchdog organization, Greenpeace USA, distributes 25 million pieces annually, attempting to teach consumers about hazardous practices and to enlist public support. Ironically, they preach that the #1 way to serve the Earth's trees and flood landfills is to stop junk mail. Many other non-profit organizations use junk mail as a source of financial support. For example, last year, the Red Cross responded to Hurricane Hugo and the San Francisco earthquake by sending out 12 million appeals, nearly doubling their annual outpouring. Disabled American veterans sent out 38.5 million fundraising pieces last year. But beware, many of these nonprofit organizations will spend up to 90% of what they earn from the mail and reinvest them into more mailings to earn more money. It's obvious how junk mail benefits its senders, but can it really benefit the American public? Surprisingly, yes. First of all, it gives the public access to hard-to-find goods. It is a convenient answer for those who cannot get out of the house or simply don't have time to shop. Secondly, it's a handy guide to the most urgent political, social, and environmental issues of the day. Believe it or not, junk mail binds our country together. But there's still one mystery about junk mail. How do advertisers and organizations get our names? The answer is simple. Direct mail specialists will cross-index lists which they receive from credit agencies, political parties, mail order houses, and nonprofit organizations. With this information, they know what kind of car you drive, what political party you belong to, and how much you pay for your house. They use this information to identify the goods, services, and causes that would interest you most. Unfortunately, this information is very easy to obtain. In fact, many marketers use a 4-inch thick book that's published bi-monthly by the Standard Rates and Data Services. This volume contains almost 11,000 rental mailing lists. Although specific names are not given, it does indicate who owns the mailing list and which lists contain the names of people who responded to other mailing lists. These lists are extremely popular because if a person has responded to one mailing list, chances are good they'll buy again. Despite all the moans and groans we hear about junk mail, the simple fact is that we Americans love it as much as we hate it. The November 26th issue of Time stated that last year, 92 million Americans responded to junk mail, a 60% jump in only 6 years. In a survey done by Equifax, it was found that 54% of Americans responded to junk mail with at least one mail order purchase. In fact, 1 out of every 6 Americans purchased 8 or more items through the mail. According to the marketing logistics of Lincolnshire, Illinois, last year alone, Americans shelled out $183 billion on mail orders and donations. A pretty positive response for something supposedly so hated. Until junk mail becomes less efficient and mailing was obsolete, we will continue to receive it, so we may as well reap the benefits. You know, this might make a good gift for my sister. But what if I am a winner? Doesn't matter how much. Doesn't matter how much or how little. If it's just one hit of habitual use. One hit can wreck a perfect pregnancy. One hit can cause a pregnant woman to go into labor. The woman may bleed, and the fetus may suffocate. A baby born to a cocaine-addicted mother is often fussy, jittery, and unresponsive to comforting. In a survey done by the National Association for Prenatal Care and Research, it was found that 1 out of every 9 babies are born to mothers who've admitted to using drugs during pregnancy. Almost everyone would agree that this is very tragic and something needs to be done. The latest attempt at a solution is to prosecute women who use cocaine during pregnancy. At first, this may sound like a reasonable solution. After all, it could reduce the number of coke babies being born, and it could scare many pregnant women from using cocaine. However, if we look deeper, we will discover some flaws that need serious attention. Today, I will discuss several cocaine murder cases, reasons why prosecution is not a good choice, and suggest alternate ways of reducing cocaine-related births. Prosecuting women who use cocaine during pregnancy is a relatively new procedure being done to fight drug use. Cases across the nation have brought women on charges ranging from child abuse, drug dealing, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, to involuntary manslaughter. Although these cases seem unrelated, they all have one important thing in common: attempting to prosecute women for dealing cocaine to their newborn babies through the umbilical cord during pregnancy. Several cases have gained national attention. Kim Hardy from Muskegon, Michigan, could get a mandatory sentence of 1 to 20 years in the state penitentiary. Hardy, who was an addict, tried to quit when she found out she was pregnant. She stayed clean for several months until a group of friends dropped by with some crack. After several hours, they convinced her to take one hit. Admits Hardy. I didn't take the drugs because I didn't love my baby. I took the drugs because I'm an addict. It adds to things they wouldn't normally do. Because there is no law in the state of Michigan that makes it a felony to have a coke baby, lawyers prosecuting Hardy for dealing cocaine to a newborn baby. Lawyers on cases such as this encounter one legally stumbling block. In 1973, the Supreme Court decision, Roe v. Wade, ruled that a fetus is not a person. To get around this, lawyers use the time immediately after the baby is born, but before the umbilical cord is cut, as the time the drug delivery takes place. This approach has been successful in one case. On July 13, 1989, a judge in Sanford County, Florida, convicted Jennifer Johnson of dealing cocaine to her 2 children through their umbilical cords during pregnancy. He specifically found that a baby who is born whose umbilical cord has not been severed is a person under the Florida state law.
The lawyer in the previously mentioned Kim Hardy's case was also using the umbilical cord as a measure point in his case. Hardy's lawyer, Alan Rappart, finds the accusation ridiculous. Claims Rappart, "We're using a law that's designed to go after drug dealers to prosecute women who happen to be pregnant.